Hello everybody, welcome back. Man alive, did I shoot myself in the foot with this one. I was the ultimate silly Billy, everybody. Why did I think to myself after I'd finished building Hogwarts that it was a good idea to build King Cross Station with the Hogwarts Express? And I'm not talking about some little place down, hidden objects kind of train station kind of thing. I thought to myself, I should build a functioning Hogwarts Express because I'm an idiot. I don't know what I was thinking, because as it turns out in practice, that's a really hard thing to do. And once I was in it, I was like, oh, this is really hard. So as you can see, I'm starting out with an absolutely magnificent train station, and I had the best intentions going into this build. I tell you what, I was thinking to myself, okay, build a train station, but make it modern, make it something that you haven't done before. Turns out I'm not great at building modern things. I knew this before I went in. I wasn't sure what had changed, and nothing had. So I go through and I'm putting down my modern columns and my modern brickwork, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's a skylight and everything. It's gonna look amazing. No. So I'm going through, and you'll see as the build goes on, I just steadily, bit by bit, bring it back to something that's a little bit more Victorian, because that's where my strength lies. And I'm just going through, and I want to make it as realistic as possible, but keep in mind, I haven't been to the train station that this has been based off of. King Cross, no idea. I got nothing. Did not research, did not try and, replicate something that was actually, within the world of possibility, because I knew I was going to have some challenges. I have decided that because my magical world of Glimmerbrook is now completely full, we've got Hogwarts, we've got Diagon Alley, we've got the Burrow, we've got Hagrid, we've got Godric's Hollow, and we've got Hogsmeade, yes. So we've got all of those things, and it's pretty full. It's full. There's no more lots going on that. But I'm not done with Harry Potter. So I thought to myself, okay, if there's going to be another world where I could put Harry Potter characters within my save file, where would it be? And of course the answer was really easy. It's going to be Henford-on-Bagley, because it's the English neighbourhood and it's big and it's got a lot of lots, and I feel like its countryside aesthetic really lends itself to Harry Potter because, it's gorgeous. So I thought, okay, let's build King Cross Station within Henford-on-Bagley. I like the idea of it because it's not a massive train station. I didn't want to build something really big. And so as I went through, I think it's a 20 by 30 lot. So I had a bit of a challenge in that it wasn't massive. So I sort of had to really prioritize space. So this is basically my first official lot, apart from Azkaban, within Henford-on-Bagley when I'm building Harry Potter. So Henford-on-Bagley is going to be completely Harry Potter themed. I've already made out a real big plan, and I might share that plan in another video maybe, but basically it's going to be full of Harry Potter. So what we're doing is we're starting with the train station, and we go in with best of intentions, but it's not a massive lot, and from what I was actually imagining in my head, I was thinking to myself, okay, it's going to be a train station. It'll be double story because, you can't build a train station that's just one level high. And then I'll sort of half it. I'll put one half as Muggle train station, and then the other half will be dedicated to platform 9 3/4, and it'll be sort of divided by a half wall, and it'll be really cool looking. And then I got in there and I realized I have bugger all space and I can't do this. I bit off so much more than I could chew with this one. So I'm going through and I'm like, oh, it's not gonna fit. It's gonna look weird. So I had to really sort of make a plan on the fly. As you can see here, my build is actually careening really into the Victorian. I basically gave up at this point on making it modern because it's just not me. So yeah, but essentially what I did was I basically put down a Muggle, it's Muggle on top and fun platform 9 3/4 in the basement. So it's got a hidden platform, which I was quite happy with because it's a sort of secret lot. I love lots that have like secrets to them. And what you do is you actually enter the train station, and you can enter a secret door that will take you down to a secret platform 9 3/4, and it's actually really cool looking. But right now, we're still working on the exterior. Oh my goodness, this exterior took me so long. It's like I kept going back and I was thinking to myself, okay, we can do this. No, we can't. It's not right. And I just kept adding and adding to the outside of it. I was putting down pillars. I was putting down things on the bottom and the sides, just trying to make it look, if I was going Victorian, I was going hella Victorian. And what I did was, at this point, I knew that the platform 9 3/4 was going to be downstairs in the basement. And I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to just have it be some kind of platform without any sunlight. So what I do is I create 2 outside areas that actually go down into the basement. So sunlight can filter through from the outside down to the platform. And as you can see, I'm starting the basic idea of the interiors and the actual platform itself. And then I'm just going through and making sure that everything looks correct. And I start with the Muggle section. So what it is, it's 2 platforms, which I thought was really appropriate for a town of Henford-on-Bagley's size. And then I'm just going through and I'm putting in very train station-esque things. So it's got 2 platforms, it's got ticket booths, it's got bathrooms, it's got a news agency, and it's got a locker room area, and it's very public and Muggle, very boring. I liked the idea that in the end, it's all sort of dank and grey and beige tones up in the Muggle section of King Cross Station. And then as you get down into the platform 9 3/4, it's beautifully coloured, like you've got this beautiful red glossy train, and then you also have, you know, beautiful golden stonework, you've got magical portals, you've got trunks everywhere, and you've got really nice coloured lampposts, and it just looks absolutely gorgeous. One thing you wouldn't know by looking at this is that I had a heck of a time putting down train tracks. For whatever reason, and you will notice this later on, the bloody things just would not place down the way I wanted them to, and I just had to go back and work with what I had. So it was a whole thing, and I'm not even entirely happy with how it turned out, but we do have a functioning King Cross Station with platform 9 3/4, so I suppose I can't complain too much. Here we are going through, and we have our little ticket booths. They are the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my life. I love what I did with these. Like, how adorable are they? So you've got little doors, and you've got little line areas. So the little ticket booths are, you know, where you buy your ticket. And then it just sort of sections each other off, and you can speak to someone that's obviously on the other side of the ticket booth. It's really adorable. And you can, you know, have your ticket, and I've got like tickets on the floor and a lot of lighting and a lot of clutter, but it's all very in theme, and I love it so much. And I was a little bit nervous about what I was actually going to put within King's Cross Station, because I don't know, what's a train station? It's just a bunch of platforms, so I really wanted to make it as authentic as I possibly could. So obviously there is an upstairs to this train station. It's the way you actually get to different platforms as you would in an actual train station, so you just can't go traipsing across train tracks. There's a whole ceiling area where you actually have to walk upstairs, go across a bridge, and go down a particular set of stairs for the platform that you actually want. So I feel like it was very realistic within that frame of mind. But I go through and I actually make some little bathrooms as well. Oh my god, the bathrooms turned out so super cute. I love them so much. Like, they're a beautiful mosaic tile kind of depiction of blue forest land, I believe. I really believe it came from the Snowy Escape pack, which I absolutely love, and it's a very themed, cheerful bathroom. I don't believe it's actually what King Cross Station bathrooms would look like. It's a bit too cheerful, but it's exactly what I wanted to do, and I thought it turned out super cute. It's very clean in there, so that's how you know. And then upstairs we obviously have the bridges where you actually go to get to other places. So here we are. We are doing our ticket booths now. And aren't they the sweetest little things you've ever seen in your whole life? Like there's a little table tray, which I used as a shelf. And that's sort of like the little desk the person on the other side would use. And it's got like a little office equipment with like a bin and switches and timetables. And I made sure there was like folders on the wall and stuff. And I just like to think that, you know, they keep all their train timetables in here as well. It's very corporate. And then also I've got like, I can't remember what job it comes with, but there's a board that has like numbers and things running across it as if it was an actual train station schedule. And it'll say, you know, like, your train to so-and-so will be departing in so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. This is late, this is delayed. And it would be so lovely and sweet. So I love how these little ticket booths turned out. They are absolutely gorgeous. Another thing I love is that I actually made a little locker room area. I love creating personality within my builds. And I thought, you know, a locker room area would actually be like really authentic, because I've seen them in train stations before, but I've never actually used one myself. It's basically you could hire a locker and you can store stuff. And I thought, that's fun. That would be something so fun. So I do put a little bit of lore in there, in that, you know, the lockers have like, you know, some lost property. Someone's left a backpack, which would not be a thing in real life. They would be on that so fast because, you know, it's a safety precaution thing and everything. But also I love that on top of one of the lockers, I actually stashed like a bag of cash. And I thought that was so fun. I'm like, ooh, someone in Henford-on-Bagley's like being a bit shifty. So it's so stupid, but I love it so much. I love tiny details like that in my builds. I think they're the sweetest thing ever. And then I was also really passionate about having a little waiting room because, oh my God, train stations, there's nowhere to bloody sit down. I'm someone who, if I'm not lying down, I want to be sitting down. Do not make me stand up for any length of time because I'm not about that. So I love a lovely, gorgeous waiting room. And I have like posters and everything. You've got the boards so you can keep track of when your train is coming and everything. And I've also built, I didn't want to do another ticket booth. I popped in another little news agency, so you can go up and you can buy like a magazine or, you know, maybe a coffee or something like that. And I put down, you know, headline artwork and magazine racks and everything, and it's super cute. And I didn't do the interior of the news agency just because I ran out of room, because I really only had like 1x5 to work with, so that was not happening. But that turned out super cute, and I put down the little nameplates on the shelf and everything, and oh, it's gorgeous. I love it so much. And so here we come to one of my favorite parts of this build. Okay, so as you can see, we have a platform right in the middle of the build, and it's basically, you know, between platforms 9 and 10, and this is basically what that is. And it's the secret entrance into the platform 9 3/4. So what you have is you've got to go upstairs and then downstairs, and then you're on the middle platform. So there's not much to do but otherwise stand around and wait in this section. And then you've got 3 concrete pillars like you would in the movie. And on one concrete pillar, I actually have a little trolley that looks like it's in the middle of being pushed into the secret entrance to the platform 9 3/4, and it's so cute. Oh, it's the most darling thing I've ever seen. Look, I didn't come up with the idea myself. I was browsing through the Harry Potter gallery, and someone had done something similar. I'm like, oh my god, that's the cutest thing I've ever seen. So I tried to do it myself, and it turned out so lovely. What I am proud of is I actually used the trolley from the basement kit, and that's sort of like the front and end of the trolley, because obviously we don't really have, you know, really trolleys within The Sims 4. We just sort of have to do what we can. So I thought that was a really cool idea, just to, you know, sort of a little bit of a placeholder in terms of a trolley. And it's got like an owl, and it's got a books and an inkwell. It would not have an inkwell in reality, but we'll go with it. It's got a place to hold a wand, and I even put down a broom that's like strapped to the side of the trolley, and it's gorgeous. I love it so much. And then on the other concrete pillar is an actual door down to platform 9 3/4. So it can't be, you know, actually walking into concrete. You can't do it. And I didn't quite want to have a secret bookcase door, because what would a bookcase door be doing on a train platform? So it's just a magical looking door. You go into the thing and it takes you down like 2 stories, and then you're going down a ladder, and then you exit out onto platform 9 3/4. And it's just the one platform, because you only really need one platform, and it's gorgeous. I love it so much. Like, it's big. I started out with it just being 1 level, and then I realized how big the train was actually going to be. So I make it 2 levels with no floor in between, and it's got a sufficient amount of space. And I got like a little poster off the gallery that had like, you know, platform 9 3/4, and I got some train tracks off the hidden objects library that, you know, had like, I think we got it with the werewolf pack, and I love these train tracks. I did have a lot of issues though with the train tracks, in that placing them down was really hard, and then getting them to stay where I wanted was really hard, and then it's just not working out. And I spent like ages, I cut it out of the video, but I spent ages trying to get these train tracks correct, and I just sort of had to run with it, and they wouldn't place on the platform, so I sort of have to be in basement level and raise them up to the floor above, and it looks weird, but it looked good in the end. But man, that was a journey. So as you can see, my 30 by 20 lot, which this is built off of, I think, it's not big enough to hold the Hogwarts Express. Like, you've got the 2 carriages, and you've got the train itself, and it's not big enough. Like, that train is going to stick out into the void, but I couldn't do anything else. I was like, I'm stuck. I'm real stuck. And building the train itself was hours upon hours and hours, and I got into it, and I'm like, that was really hard. It was challenging. I haven't been challenged like this in a long time, because I had to start thinking outside the box and be super creative with how I was actually going to build a functioning Hogwarts Express, because I didn't just want a train, I wanted a functional train. So yeah, I was excited about it for about 20 minutes, and then it dawned on me how difficult this was going to be. And then I was like, oh shoot. So yeah, I go through, and the bistro kit saved my bacon. You have no idea, guys. Like, it was the whole long and short of this build. The red tones of that pack helped me out so much, because it was really hard to find red things that could go on the outside of this build, and I just had to start getting experimental with it. Like, I'm not one of those builders that's used to like building things very custom. I had to dig deep. I was like looking at objects going, can I use this for? What can I use in a very particular sized up, sized down, turn it all around way to make it actually work and make this train look authentic? And I was just throwing everything at this train, and I think it turned out super nice. It's not as bright as I would have liked it. Like, it's red. Don't get me wrong, it's red. She's red. But she's sort of a, not fire engine red, if you know what I mean. But you know what? I have to let it go and move on because, you can't have everything. But I feel like I did really well in terms of the train itself. I was particularly proud with the end of the train, the actual motor and everything, because I went super custom with that. Like, I was like, all right, it's not red, but how can I make it red? And it was just so fun, and I loved it so much. All right, and we are doing some carriages. Oh, the carriages, they were honestly my favorite bit, because at this point I was over the hump. I was like, okay, I built the train, happy days. Now to furnish it and decorate it and make it look authentic. So with the carriages, I was sort of knowing what I was doing. I was like, all right, just chuck everything at it and it'll turn out fine. And I love how it turned out. It turned out so fun. I sort of like, it's not the same colour, I don't think. Like, it's very red in there, and I took liberties with the colour scheme, and it just turned out so fun. Like, you've got the hallway, and the hallway is very cheerful. And then you've got the two carriages within this, two compartments within this first carriage. And the compartments are basically copies of one another. Like, the trunks and the clutter that's in the carriages is a little bit different from each other, but otherwise they're the same. And they're so fun. Like, I was really happy I was able to find appropriate seating. It's like a bar thing that's like 3 stools long, and it's perfect, and it fit perfectly, and the color scheme was there. It's red, and they're not red in the movies, but you know what? It's fine. It's a red train. It can have red compartments. It's fine. So we go through, and I give them like a little stand that attaches to the wall, which I thought was super cute. And I put like menus on the stand, and there's like bits where you can actually store luggage up above. So there's little racks and everything, and you've got trunks, you've got backpacks, and you've got books, and you've got like, I wanted it to feel like the kids have boarded the train, and they're trying to like crank out their homework last minute. Like, so they're getting their books out, they're getting their inkwells out, and they're just trying to crank out their homework on the Hogwarts Express. I feel like that would be so typical of kids going to Hogwarts. So I really wanted to recreate that. But otherwise, the compartment is just wood tones, and I tried to fit in as much as I could, and the windows outside, and I feel like the doors look like they could slide open. They don't, but it feels like they could. And then you also have windows. So you've got windows that can go from compartment to compartment, a little bit of ventilation on our train. We love to see it. And then the lighting is just pure Victorian, very antique and authentic, and just super gorgeous. This is a luxury train, and I was really excited about the roof racks, honestly. Came with Life and Death, the pack that just keeps on giving, and it turned out so fun, and I was like, yes, these roof racks really make it. So yeah, they were fun. And then also I do a little sweet trolley, so it's iconic. Anything from the trolley dears is just so ingrained into my head. I think about it randomly sometimes. And so I had to put down a little sweets trolley, and I do. There's a sweets trolley that goes with each carriage. So there's 2 sweets trolleys, and they're just so fun and sweet, and I love it so much. All right, now we're getting into our second compartment, and you only actually see this compartment, I think, in Order of the Phoenix or something like that. So you see it, and Neville's there, and I think, Death Eaters. I'm probably getting the movie wrong. I haven't seen Order of the Phoenix or Half-Blood Prince in a really long time. I actually haven't seen Deathly Hallows in a really long time. I stick to mainly the early films just because it's going to sound so weird, but I don't need the stress in my life of the last films. I would rather just keep it really fun and, just lighthearted. So, yeah, those early films are my jam. I love them so much. So I'm not as familiar with the later films as I could possibly be, but I did read the books. So there's knowledge there. I just have to dig deep for it. So the second compartment is the public carriage. Now the public carriage it's not got little compartments, but it has seating areas. So it's got little booths. And there's obviously it's a little bit of a replication of the compartments, but more public. So you've got your red seating, you've got your tables, you've got your menus, and obviously there's the roof racks and the backpacks and the shoes and the book backpacks and everything. And in this carriage, I wanted there to be a toilet. You cannot have a Hogwarts Express without a little bathroom. And I always think to myself, they need more bathrooms on that train because, you know what, hear me out. In the books, they're meant to get changed into their uniform on the train. And it's always bugged me because, no, I'm not getting changed in public in front of other people. Are you kidding me? Is this some kind of American thing I don't know about? Because we don't do that here in Australia. No, we're private people and we don't get naked in front of one another within school when we're all underage. No. So I don't know how they manage that on the Hogwarts Express, but would love to hear that explanation. It's do they just go into compartments and put down the blinds and they're just super okay with it to just get dressed in front of their friends? I suppose it must be. It's got to be a boarding school thing. We don't really have boarding schools here in Australia, so someone let me know. Is that a typical thing to just change in front of your friends? I suppose if they're good friends. But it's your worst enemy could just traipse past your compartment at any moment. Are you kidding me? No. It's no. And there's only I'm sure, limited bathrooms on that train. So it's not they're all taking turns. It's not this massive line of a couple hundred students going, all right, hurry up in there. I've got to get changed. We only have an hour until we're at Hogwarts. It don't make sense, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to know what the explanation is here. For scientific purposes, it's bugging the crap out of me. So the compartment, it's absolutely gorgeous and it's got a sweet trolley and everything and it's so fun, and again I really liked how it turned out, and everything about this train is functional. I play tested it. I got Petunia Dursley on there and she's sitting down and she's going to the bathroom and it is fully functional, and happy days. I'm so glad it worked out because making the train was a massive risk. It could have just not worked, especially because I was building a room within a room and that was a hard thing to do, but happy days. Okay, now we've come to the part in the build where I just go full hog insane for the custom building. I'm not someone who's ever done this before. I saw a train and it was a pretty basic bitch train, if I'm being completely honest. It should have been red, and it's really bugging me because the Hogwarts Express is red, duh. And so I had this train and it was just black and grey and a bluish grey at that, and I'm it's not cheerful enough, especially in contrast to the two carriages. It needed a bit of sprucing up. So I went to work and I was deeply outside of my comfort zone. I'm what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. okay, well, we'll trust the process. And I'm so glad it worked out. I trusted the process and she did not let me down. The only thing I'm really sad about is that I couldn't do the very front of the train. Like, the lot just would not give me the space to do so. And I'm sad I didn't get to do the front of the Hogwarts Express. It's such a little thing, but I'm like, for photo purposes, I would have loved to have done the front of Hogwarts Express. That way I could just have a front view. You can look down the train. You can go, oh my god, that's the Hogwarts Express. But you know what? We did what we could. Even just making the train red was an accomplishment for me. I'm like, okay, just throw as much red and gold at it as you possibly can, and it should turn out pretty okay. It's at this point I start putting like roof decorations on the train, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's this kind of build. And Life and Death, again, coming in so clutch, you have no idea. I need to like write a letter to the Sims team thanking them for the blessed experience that is the Life and Death pack, because oh my god, she's so great. I'm gonna stop going on about her eventually, okay? They need to come up with a new pack so I can gush about that one. But for now, Life and Death, mwah, beautiful darling. I love her. She's the best. But right now I'm just doing my little custom train, and it's at this point I am like 5-6 hours into the build. I'm like, oh, so this is what it's like when I'm not building Hogwarts. I'd forgotten. So yeah, I just went through and I tried to make the train as custom as I possibly could. There did come a certain point where I was just like, stop. You need to stop right now because you're actually going insane. So yeah, she did her best and it turned out great, but it's going to be a long time until I do something this custom again because, oh my god, it was stressful. Okay, now we are finally coming to the tail end of this build. Well done for making it this far. It was a long one, I do apologize, but now we are just building platform 9 3/4 itself. As you can see, the train is like the centerpiece of the platform, and I'm like, okay, the surroundings have to match the train, So I'm thinking golds, I'm thinking subtle reds, I'm thinking fun lampposts, I'm thinking decorations and trunks and little nooks, and it's going to be so nice looking. I went full reminiscent of Hogwarts, so you've got similar stonework, honestly, and then we just go through and we're making little antechambers. So I like the idea that yes, some students to board the train do enter via King Cross Station, but a lot of them just come in via the Floo network, and I really wanted to add that in. So you've got a row of antechambers, and they're basically just chambers that you can walk through, and they've got magical portals. And the magical portals within the canon of the save are actually stand-ins for the Floo network. So if you actually clicked on this portal, you could go travel to the magic realm, which is Hogwarts, which doesn't make sense because you're boarding the train to get to Hogwarts, but you know what? We're just going with it. So there is a functional magical portal that you can enter into, but you know what, you're just going to go to Hogwarts that way. So yeah, but I really loved it, and I love the idea that every time I do a Floo network, I add in some soot that's just trailing out of it, just to make it look like, no, it's not a fireplace, but it's sort of a fireplace, if you get my drift. And then for the rest of the platform, I'm just adding in details, I'm adding in trunks, I'm adding in lighting. I didn't want to over clutter it or over complicate it, I just wanted to fill the space because I didn't want to take away from the Hogwarts Express, which is the centerpiece. But yeah, she was really fun to make, and I was at the tail end. I'm like, let's go, let's finish this off because she's looking mighty fine. But really, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a really long video, well done for making it this far, but thank you so much for coming along. I'm always a bit wary of these longer form videos because my building process tends to drag out and I just go back and forth on what I actually want to do. So I never know if I really want to do really long ones or just try and keep it really short, but I'm someone that just can't slow down or go quicker or anything. I just have to show my whole process. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I love my King Cross Station, my little Hogwarts Express. I'm so happy with it. I'm glad I took the challenge and I'm super impressed. But thank you so much for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I'm hoping you are having a fantastic day. But thank you so much for coming along. Like and subscribe if you're feeling like it, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye bye.